Sophie, his 13th birthday. Gift? We've got you. Guitar? Coming tomorrow. Road game today, surprise party tomorrow. Change of plans. Game tomorrow.
No, birthday tomorrow.
Hotel! Guitar. Reroute.
Birthdays are on birthdays.
Party? Relocate. UPS My Choice makes rerouting packages easy. How we're helping companies solve for the needs of customers like Sophie.
Yes, again, before we get to Kent State, again, it's losses, tough losses are always tough to overcome and disappointing. But as I told our players, they fought so hard, and we had a non-conference schedule that had all the possibilities of what could happen, and with the strength of especially Wisconsin, Marshall, and Appalachian State, and our players played hard, got a little bit too far behind on Appalachian State. They're such a good team, but the fact that we came back and put our team in a position to tie that game and take it to overtime, I thought was a great credit to our team, the way they came back, down at 21 points at halftime, and I think were down 21 several other times, and then we came back and did real well. But now that we've got that one behind us, we focus on the next week. That's always great about football. There's always a next week, and this is the Triple Crown week, I call it. This is a Triple Crown Saturday. If you have 3 goals in the Mid-American Conference, you want to win the conference or have a chance to play for it. You want to go to a bowl, and you want to beat your rival. We have all 3 of those. All 3 goals that we have every year are those 3 goals. And they all present themselves only one time a year, and that's Saturday. And so it's a great opportunity. It's unusual a little bit because it's usually late in the season. But it's still just as big. And so we are preparing very hard for I think a very good Kent State team who right now has the exact same conference record as most everybody else in the conference, just like us. And they have got a very good football team, and we're getting prepared for a team for a rivalry game that we're expecting. We'll have to play our very best, but we're excited about the opportunity, and we will prepare hard the rest of the week to get our players ready for the game. Any questions? We'll just open up for questions.
How does this scheduling change mess with the psyche of the team, or does it at all?
I think we got to ask that question all the way back to the summer when we got to the MAC media days. I just don't know. I'm thinking if there's ever a team, when we play the last game, usually we if we had a chance to demoralize ourselves for the previous 11, we've been demoralized. If we have a chance to make ourselves super positive by having a great year, you come in super positive. Right now, both teams, I think, are extremely positive. The one thing you've got both teams in extremely positive attitude. And we're 2-2, they're 1-3, and almost every team in our conference, but 2 or 3 are in the same or in about that same boat. You know, that's the norm. That's very much the norm in our conference. And we both come in undefeated in the conference play, or 0-0, and so I think we both come in with a very positive mindset. Whereas at times when you play at the last game of the season, it's just as big, but it's sometimes I think you come into that game, no matter how much you want to dispel it. You can't dispel the positive feeling you have about your team or the negative, and you try to hide it or you try to overcome it. So I think right now you got 2 teams that'll play their very best because each team sees this as a chance to win the Triple Crown, of the Triple Crown Saturday.
As a coach, when your rival shuts you out, previous game, do you remember it? Does the team remember it? Or is that one of those games, can you put it out of your mind?
Well, we didn't get shut out, but they put it out of their mind. You know what? I can't put out every loss we've had to them. I'm 2-2. I've been here 4 years. I'm 2-2. I can't put out the fact that the year before we got to game 1, and they drive the length of the field and beat us in the last drive. I still can't forget that game. So I imagine that's in their craw too. So those games are in our craw. We came out in my first year. We weren't very good, and they were really good, and we came out and jumped on them pretty good. But they did what they needed to do, which was they're the better team. They won the game. Then we came out and won the second one. pretty even teams. And last year, then the third year, we had a chance to be bowl eligible, and they took it away from us on the last drive. So absolutely, the game sticks in your craw. It does to coaches, I know that much. And I know it does to your older players who go through it. So, but like I say, it's whatever happened in the past, the other team won it the next week and so next year. So we know what kind of game we've got out there. This game is going to be won or lost on its own merits and on the play that we have on Saturday. We've got to make sure we go out there and present the best possible football team we can be on Saturday.
Coach, you have so many young players,
Mm-hmm.
players from outside the area. Is it up to the seniors or the coaches to tell the rest of you how important this game is? And where does that motivation come from?
I think both are going to do it. I think I'm going to make sure I present the realities. We talked today about what was your high school rivalry. I said just we all have different rivalries. I grew up in Morgantown, grade school, junior high, high school, and college. Played at West Virginia. Pitt was Pitt. It was different, and you look, when you're in high school, you know who your rivalry are. You're in Canton. If you're at Massillon and Canton, McKinley, I'm sure that's just you're at St. V or you're at Holben or whatever these things are. This is Kent State, and so the young guys. My 2 cents today was just this is your rivalry. It'll be when you come back here and mingle with your other lettermen from years past. You'll all identify with, did you beat Kent that year? Did you beat in your year? So I think there was some coaching on my part, history lessons and things like that are just refreshers. But I think the second thing you said is most important. The upperclassmen, those players that it means the most, who've earned that wagon wheel. That's the ones that it means the most. I can't tell you how fast I ran. I can't run anymore to go get that wagon wheel that second year I was here. How good that felt in that game to go get that wagon wheel, and it's put under the goalpost on the last series, and so. But I think what you said at the end, I think the players, the seniors, the upperclassmen must continually remind those players, and I think peer pressure is always the most significant thing.
In the game on Saturday, it was nice to see Van Edwards.
Uh-huh.
Running, and that big run he made
Mhm.
to get you to the last
Right.
touchdown. Does that help you go along as we go along with the running game?
Right.
Now you got 3 or 4 guys now
Right.
getting back healthy to establish your running game, so Thomas doesn't really
Right.
have to throw 40 sometimes a game.
Well, we may throw it 40 times a game. The key, we had 30 first downs. We had 487 yards against a team that, on the average, if you look at their last 16 games, they averaged giving up 19 points a game, 350 or 60 yards a game. That's what they give up every single game. We had 30 first downs. We had 480 yards. We had 38 points. We punted twice in the game. Now, if they don't score very much and we get ahead 12 or 14 or 16 points, we start running the ball a little bit more for that reason. Not just because I want to have balance, but I think having Edwards healthy again, and Manny having that good week, I think that helps us. And the more we can mix our run together, the better it is. But maybe we'll throw it so well that people will spread out and stop the passing game, and we'll open up that running game more. But I know that for our team, we need to throw the ball to open up the run. For Appalachian State, they're going to run the ball to open up the pass. And when they get ahead of somebody, they're going to do exactly what they do best, which is more running. That's so. So I'm glad Edward. We've got Warren Ball. We don't know at what point he'll be back. He's injured, and it's week to week, and we don't know what week he'll get approval to be back in the games. And so, but with Van Edwards and with Manny Morgan running like he did against Marshall, I think we've got 2 backs right there that have proven themselves. Even DJ Jones has had a pretty good season as our 3rd back. So, I think that'll be coming. And hopefully we can mix our running game in more we want to run more and run more effectively, that's for sure.
Terry, with Kent State's back 7, I mean, they're so veteran, right?
Right.
They're so effective with Holly, Monday, Murray,
Right.
Cuthbert, played a lot of football.
Right.
How critical will it be, and if you and Coach Milwee
Mhm.
started winning individual matchups with your receivers and creating those mismatches, going to be very, very important.
Yeah, they're a very good defense. They were a very good defense last year. They struggled last year offensively, and they, as far as an offensive strategy for their team, we've got to find the matchups. We've got to find ways to keep them mixing up our offense, run to pass, because they are a veteran defense and veteran secondary. And their safety is phenomenal safety. He's the old school safety that'll make 18, 20 tackles in a football game, keep everybody else lined up properly. Holly is something that's special. And so, but he does have corners. They can play well against the pass. What we got to do is mix it up. I mean, I'm not telling you. I mean, Lane and JoJo Natson, go look at they're the big play guys. You kind of want to give the ball to them as much as possible, and you have to throw it to them to get it to them. And so what we've got to do is just find matchups if we can, but also when we can, we've got to run the ball. We've got to mix the run in with it and force those guys to support the run some, because if they can focus only on passing game, they can match up with you pretty good. So we've got to hopefully get them a little bit nervous about playing. You know, you either play cover 3, you play cover 1, and when you play cover 3, you can watch the ball. When you play cover 1, you got to watch the pass and nothing but the receiver. And so we've got to mix it up well. But their defense is very sound, very good. You just got to watch the way they played some good opponents now, and so we have to go out there, and I think the key is to go out there, take what they give us, be able to mix up our offense, and fight hard. Don't turn the ball over, and those kind of things.
Your defense this week, what should the focus be? What is the focus looking as you go into this game, given the performance last week?
Well, I mean, last week it was just you can't really prepare for Appalachian State any other way than to prepare for Appalachian State's offense. It's a very different style of a stretch zone, they call it, and they do it remarkably well. They've done it remarkably well for a lot of years, and even the midline option. Again with Kent State, we need to go out there and find the best 11 people and keep them on the field as long as we can. And then make sure each person just does his job. Right now, we've still got 5 out of our front 7 are learning how to play a little bit with the rest of our group. We lost Brock Box and didn't play last week. Had to be in a wedding, and we lost him for the game as his brother got married, and so he had to go be in his wedding, and he wasn't there for that game. And Andrew Hauser, our middle linebacker, was banged up, and we just have to do a good job being the best we can be. They're going to run and throw and mix it up very, very well. And we've got to go out there and play assignment football and just play our best football. We didn't tackle very well last week. There was some good running. There was some good. They put the pressure on you, but we've really tried to emphasize tackling this week, because we've got to get back to, and Chuck Amata being an old school veteran guy, linebacker coach for a lot of years. Tackling is very important to him, and I'm just repeating what he said. We've got to get out there and make sure we can tackle. So again, defense is just a matter of taking last week and the week before and the week before and getting better each week.
Is it a matter of finding also the right combination personnel? Because right now, I don't see a lot of chemistry on that defense, whereas last year you did. And even the year before.
Well, last year especially, but even we had a bunch of seniors that 5 out of our front 7 were seniors, and you got Cody Grice, Jatavis, Dylan Evans, people like that who've been here a long time, and I think they offered great leadership on that front 7. And you've got some younger guys in there, and so chemistry usually is very apparent when you're winning. Some people say you have chemistry because you win. Some people say you win because you have chemistry. It kind of goes together. And defensively, I thought before the season began, we need to be a little more productive on offense this year, because we're building our defense back up. And so far, that's kind of just the way it's been. And like I told our team, I'm not sure I've had a team the last 4 years at Akron that would be 2-2 right now against the 3 people we played. I don't think we've had one. And we're 2-2 with a chance of being 3-1. And I don't think I could have, even as good as our defense was last year, I'm not sure we would have scored enough points to be in that ball game at all last year. And so I still continue to encourage our guys, just continue to do what you're doing. I have such great confidence in these coaches and their ability to put our players in the right position, and our players have worked very hard. And, you can't waffle. I mean, you come off Marshall and you put 65 points and you beat a team, worst loss they had at their stadium in stadium history. And you have all the answers. And then you go out there and a very, very good Appalachian State team who won 11 games last year and was preseason picked to win their conference. They got after us. They got after our defense with their style of play. And then you'd want to make sure you don't start doubting yourself. But we just have to continue to play together, work hard, and take each game and make sure we get better each week. And I don't believe we'll be the team Saturday that we will be 6 more weeks from now, but we need to be the best team we can possibly be, or we won't get past Saturday. So the chemistry, and I think I'm getting away from your question of chemistry. I think that's just, it's not, it will begin to come as young guys like Ulysses Gilbert began to assert themselves as a leader, not just a good player, but a leader, and those type of things that we have to see out of those kind of guys. We'll get better and better. Yes.
Speaking of seniors in Kent State, you have a senior captain that hasn't played against Kent State yet, JoJo Natson. Was he been like the 340 looking for him?
Well, JoJo is such a competitor. I would worry about, you'd worry about a guy if they don't really feel you get a transfer and you say, well, God, will this guy ever bind to the blue and gold? Will he bind to our colors? Will he bind to our school tradition? Will his heart pump a little faster when somebody says they're a Zip? And you worry about a guy with 1 year. But this guy is such a competitor. He loves to compete. He loves to play hard. He practices hard. He plays hard. I guess I don't care who it is. He's going to play his very, very best. And like I said earlier, each of our players comes from a tradition of football where they have a rivalry. They understand that. So he is a guy that there are others. Sometimes when you have transfers and you wonder how much you pick up a transfer and he's got 1 year of eligibility, does he really understand what this means to all of the guys who've been through this here for so long? JoJo, you don't worry about that.
Terry, kind of a broad-based
Uh-huh.
college football question. You've seen such a rash young man players giving verbal commitments, ninth
Mhm.
graders,
Right.
10th graders, and then for various reasons, maybe
Gee.
they see 17, 18 freshmen
Right.
on the field, and then they decide, would you see any benefit in possibly having a second signing period in August, right before the season begins,
Uh-huh.
in order to alleviate all this
Right.
burden on you coaches,
Right.
coaching staffs, kids, their families, about,
Mhm.
again, this entire, phenomenon now
Right.
created by verbal commitments that
Right.
come as decommits.
I think it will evolve the way we coaches lead it. We're the ones in charge. This is not this commitments and decommitments and verbal commitments. The people in control are the coaches, whether we like to say it or not. We do this every year for years and years. These high school players do it only once. So as much as we like to blame them for whether they commit or decommit, we pretty much know what we're doing and what we're doing. That being said, I'm all for an early signing date. I'm comfortable with it, but I've been coaching long enough. My first year as a head coach was 1983. In fact, my first year as a college player, they were unlimited. I remember we were at West Virginia. Pitt signed 96 players. One of those was Tony Dorsett. That there was no limits. So as we evolve, things change. And so as I've learned over the years, the 30 plus years since my first year as a head coach in college, these rules change every year, and all we do is change with them. So on one hand, yes, I think an early signing date might keep us locked into commitments, but I do know that there are so many hard workers. When you see how hard a worker this Harbaugh guy is at Michigan, he'll just find a way to go commit them earlier. I mean, we'll be after them too. Now, if we're going to commit them before their senior year, then we're going to have to start recruiting them and offering them when they're sophomores or ninth graders. All it's going to do, we're going to outdo each other to get to them earlier. The earlier we have to sign them, then the earlier we're going to have to start recruiting them. And that's what we always do, because coaches that are driven, that push the envelope, that work to do things, that always trying to be the first guy to do this or to do a little bit more, We're all going to keep finding more and more ways to be the first guy to get a signing, to be the first guy to do this, to do more, to do better. So I'm very comfortable with it. We at MAC meetings, we had these discussions. I think most of us agreed for the Mid-American Conference coach, if we can get a commitment and hold on to it, we're better off. If we can get that,
You mentioned Coach Harmon.
Yeah.
So he's used a term now that he says, okay, you may verbal to me, but this is a meritocracy. You still have to achieve in the classroom
Yeah.
your senior year and on the football field. You verbally commit, it doesn't mean that, okay, I get cut.
Right.
Scale back now and not continue to achieve. Do you?
Now, let me just say this. This recruiting business is a game more than a business, and it's a game that you have to know how to play. And we coaches are not being truly ingenious. Is that the word? We're not being honest, because there's such thing as an offer without allowing somebody to make an acceptance. We want to be the first to offer you, but I know you've got a lot of people on your mind and you want to visit some schools, but we're the first to offer you. Well, if you wanted them to accept, you'd say, can you accept right now? Well, you're probably afraid to take it because you're going to offer a bunch of people. And if they all accepted that day, you'd have 50 or 60 people committed. Then you got it backwards. So quite a few of these coaches are making offers without really giving a kid an opportunity to accept. So now they've made the first offer. They can go say, I'm the first guy that offered you. And a year later, when that's the guy they really want, they'll say, but I offered you. And I was the first to offer you. But they're giving themselves an out and say, well, son, when I offered you, why didn't you accept? Well, coach, I wanted to visit other schools. Well, then it wasn't a closed deal. It was my offer. You had a chance to accept. Well, really, you never really gave him a chance to accept. So and then the player is trying to do the same thing. He's trying to take as many. A player wants to get offered as quickly as he can, because once one school offers him, I'll have players that don't know me, coach. Does that mean I've got an offer? Because once they get one offer, they're going to get 7 other offers immediately. And we see coaches go out there and, I've had friends of mine that I've known all my life. Their son's a senior. Would you offer me? Would you offer my son? Because I know I'll get 7 other offers if you'll just offer. I won't. You don't have to honor it. Just offer. So there's a game being played out there, and I think there's a lot of moving parts, and I think as long as we're being honest with players, I think honesty is so important, and integrity in our business, that we have to have some integrity. But we also have a game that's being played, and it's a game that, as I said very first, we coaches have the advantage because we've been doing this a long time, and the players are trying to get an offer in their pocket as early as they can too. And this is a lot, and again, so we've done a lot of just jawing, talking. That's interesting stuff. Right. But early signing dates will change some things, but it won't change everything.
One last thing,
Yeah.
if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Don't you find a lot of, say you coach Bowden and the staff, you've offered me, I'm a white linebacker, right? And I want to come into your program and play right now. And now you've got Ulysses Gilbert that's come in and flashed. And I know, I'm not asking you, but to me, Terry, a lot of kids, I don't want to go anywhere.
Sure.
Try to take his job.
Right.
So I'm going to decommit and go somewhere else. I think fans don't understand that. Always looking to point the finger at
Right.
The coach rescinded on. No, I didn't. A lot of times a kid sees that, like I just mentioned, the
Right.
plays 17 freshmen in the first game of the year.
Yeah.
A lot of them are the position I'm playing. I don't know if I want to get involved there now because I might not get on the field.
Right.
I think, right? I mean, there's a lot of that you coaches always get educated for, when that's not necessarily the way it is.
Yeah, I
You
mean,
don't wanna go-
like I said, this is a very, very, there are a lot of variables involved. The coaches know what they're doing. The players are learning to do they're learning what to do as well. And so, like I say, hopefully people will be honest with each other, and there will be integrity in the process, and that that we can do the right thing by other people. There are always going to be coaches decommit. There are always going to be players who decommit. That's why there's a contract. An offer and an acceptance is something I learned in law school, that you got to have an offer and acceptance to have a valid contract. And that's kind of what a signing, a scholarship paper is. And there's a lot of things that go on before then, and it does make for interesting entertainment. It makes for interesting internet stuff. It makes for call-in radio stuff. But it's like I say, when you put your head on your pillow, you try to, was I honest? Do I have integrity into what I did? And go from there. And a little bit of games, understanding this thing is such a game that everybody's playing a little bit of. But anyway, Kent and I both have been playing it. We're both trying hard to get the best players that we can get. And to draw this back to Kent State, both of us work very hard, I'm sure, to utilize all this recruiting to get the very best players we can get.